So as you all know, or I hope most of you all know, The World's End has been released in the UK today. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to review the other two movies in the Cornetto trilogy, or as it's officially called, or as I like to call it, the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy. Those films are Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. They're basically, the films don't have anything to do with each other. It's just they're all directed by Edgar Wright, star Simon Pegg and Nick Frost in the lead roles, and they all involve, well, someone knocking a fence over, Cornetto ice creams, and a lot of blood. So here's my review for Shaun of the Dead. Okay, so recently Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright have both reached like huge Hollywood success, with Edgar Wright like directing blockbusters such as Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Simon Pegg appearing in movies like Star Trek, big Hollywood movies. But let's not forget the time when Pegg and Wright were all at their best, and that is Shaun of the Dead. Now, Shaun of the Dead stars Simon Pegg and Nick Frost in the two lead roles, and I'll go through about what it's about. So the plot is pretty simple. I'll go through the plot now. So basically, it's this guy called Shaun, played by Simon Pegg, who, to say he's a bit of a loser, he's having a bit of a midlife crisis, if you want to call it that. And, he's got a dead-end job. His girlfriend has just dumped him because, he ignores her, and he always spends, like, every night at the local pub, the Winchester, with his best friend Ed, played by Nick Frost, who's hilarious in this movie. Basically, a zombie apocalypse starts to happen, just out of the blue. It's never actually really explained, but that just adds to the genius of the film. So yeah, zombie apocalypse just happens to happen, and then Shaun has to sort of defend his girlfriend Liz, her two best friends David and Diane, his mum, his stepdad, and of course Ed's along for the ride too. So yeah, there's the plot. But what's really clever about the movie is that not that the plot's about a random zombie apocalypse, because there is a little bit more to it than that. The clever thing about this movie is you'll see in the scene where the zombies are first introduced. We know they're zombies, of course, because we know we're watching a zombie movie. But the characters in the movie don't know that they're zombies until like a little while in. So Shaun's sort of walking through the street, going to the local shop down the road, and there's zombies surrounding him, and he just thinks, because the day before, it's really good foreshadowing with this movie, because the day before Shaun comes home from the shop, and there's a man asking him for money, and like one of those beggar men, and there's like a boy kicking a football around, and Shaun notices them, but when he leaves the next day, the same people are there, but they're now zombies, and Shaun doesn't know this, which is really clever, because it just shows that his life is boring, and his life is zombie-like, and these people also lead boring generic lives, and they act like zombies. And that is basically kind of, if there was a message behind Shaun of the Dead, it would be like, live your life how you can, don't sort of go sit around being a boring generic twat. The message of the movie, the main sort of message is, don't sorry, got a bit, it always happens. Don't lead your life like a zombie. And that's what I really liked about the movie. The message is just great. So yeah, it's not like a really deep message, and it's not one of those movies where it really leaves you thinking. Really, the movie is just a zombie apocalypse comedy, but it's one of my favourite movies of all time, and I'm not actually exaggerating there, it is. And one of the taglines is, ever felt like you were a zombie, and that's what the movie's trying to say to us. It's trying to say, don't be boring, be, just live your life great, enough about that. Let's talk about how the acting and the directing is. The directing, it's Edgar Wright straight away, like with this and Hot Fuzz, and by the looks of The World's End, which is on the back of the wall behind here if you've never heard of The World's End. But, it's filmed in a sort of really, Edgar Wright-ish way, like tracking shots, and like long shots of like cars and stuff. He films it in his own sort of style. with Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, that is how it is, and you instantly know. You watch it and you're like, that's Edgar Wright. And even when you watch movies like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, it still incorporates Edgar Wright's elements into that movie. Even though it's a bigger scale movie, bigger budget movie, it still incorporates the sort of style of Edgar Wright into it, like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz did. So yeah, enough talking about Hot Fuzz comparison now, because when I do my Hot Fuzz review, I'll obviously talk more about Hot Fuzz. So I'm just going to forget about Hot Fuzz for now and focus solely on Shaun of the Dead. So yeah, I recommend this movie to absolutely anyone. If you're a horror fan, you're a fan of zombie invasion movies, you're a fan of comedy, this is the movie for you. Even if you don't like any of those sort of genres that I mentioned, if you're a movie fan in general, this movie's for you. This movie has something for everyone. It says down here, a romantic comedy with zombies. There you go. So it's a horror, romance, comedy. And you can't go wrong with all those three movies, because women are going to like it, horror enthusiasts are going to like it, comedians are going to like it, just everyone will like it. And I don't know a single person that's seen Shaun of the Dead that didn't like it. Everyone that I've spoke to that's seen the movie goes, yeah, Shaun of the Dead, classic movie, great comedy, great action. Well, the action that's in it is kind of silly sort of action, and that's what the movie is. It's incredibly silly as well, because it's got really stupid sort of jokes, and it's really kind of stupid in the way that the characters sort of play out this apocalypse. But that's what makes the movie work: the silliness, the comedy, and it's got some of the greatest quotes in history of cinema. Well, comedy cinema anyway. Some of the quotes in here, once you watch this movie, you'll be quoting it for days afterwards, because I did. And if I watch this movie now, I'll be quoting it for about a week. So if you're a fan of any sort of genre of movie, it's got something for everyone, and it's just great. So I'm going to come out straight out with a rating which I haven't given since I saw Star Trek Into Darkness. That's right, wow, 5 stars out of 5, and I'm also going to give it, as you know, a thumbs up. So have you seen Shaun of the Dead? What do you think? I'm not going to say about, what did you prefer, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End. I'm not going to say that yet. Phone's going off. Sorry. I'm not going to go ahead and say, what do you think's better, because when I do my Hot Fuzz review, actually, in fact, I'm going to wait till I do my World's End review to ask that, because then you can compare all 3 movies to what I've said, and if you've seen World's End, you can compare them all. So anyway, what do you think of Shaun of the Dead? Do you like Shaun of the Dead? And I'm going to ask you what your favourite zombie invasion movie is. There we go. Comment below if you want. If you don't, don't. And make sure you like and subscribe if you like what you see here. And stay tuned for my review of Hot Fuzz, which I will be releasing later today. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.